This is News 8 Now this morning.
Having coverage in the town of Shelby not only helps their residents, but it also gives the entire county more coverage and more resources.
Get it out, but make sure you're getting the whole tick. So that means using the tweezers and getting it as close to the head or the skin junction as possible. Because if you leave any part of that tick behind, then you could be also just at risk for other skin infections.
It's life-changing for them. We've had them who were suicidal and now are not, and away from their family and now are reunited with their families. We've had them who wouldn't leave the house, and now one of them's a VFW commander in Colorado.
Good morning, everyone. That was your morning eye opener. I'm Sophia Pullman.
I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Wednesday, May 10th. It was beautiful yesterday.
Oh, it sure was.
And it's going to be the same today.
I know. I'm so excited. Can't wait to go outside and enjoy some of that
enjoy
nice
it.
weather. Yeah, 80 degrees today. That's going to feel awesome.
Feel great.
So, yeah.
Nice little energy boost.
Yeah, exactly. Get some vitamin D in your skin here too. So yeah, it's going to be pretty similar to what we had yesterday. You know, we had some of those passing clouds across the area yesterday, and of course temperatures really warmed up into those mid to upper 70s. So I'm happy to say today's going to be rather similar to that. And what's also similar to yesterday is the fact that we're dealing with some fog out there here during the morning hours, and you can see areas like Volkfield, Black River Falls, Basketball, all currently reporting 0-mile visibility. Visibility is down to 1 in at Prairie du Chien. So just watch out here on your morning commute if you are in those spots. Current temperature readings are into the 40s and 50s, 54 in Winona, 54 as well in La Crosse, 53 La Crosse, and 51 degrees Prairie du Chien, 55 in Eau Claire. So let's get a check now on your planner, and we're going to be looking at the 50s here this morning, followed by the 60s by 9. Looking at temperatures warming up into the 70s and low 80s this afternoon with a mix of clouds and sunshine. For your allergy report today, ash and birch are medium. Trees are high. Same forecast for tomorrow. The oak is the majority pollen that was collected in the recent air sample, according to the Allergy Associates of La Crosse. Stay tuned. I'm going to have that full weather check on your full weather forecast coming up in a few minutes, and we'll talk about some of those rain chances that we're also expecting later this week. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Vernon County Sheriff says there was no active shooter at schools yesterday, despite getting a 911 call reporting one. Sheriff Roy Torgerson says dispatch got a call at about 9:30 in the morning with a report of a shooter at Stoddard Elementary. Officers responded and found no threat. Officers then went to all the other schools in the district to check on them. Sheriff Torgerson says the community is not at risk. One person is dead after what police are calling an industrial incident at the 3M plant in Prairie du Chien. When officers and a medical team got to the scene, they found a person with severe injuries. The person was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say 3M and its employees are cooperating in the investigation. OSHA will complete the investigation. Police say they will release the name of the victim at a later time. As warm weather makes its way into the Coulee region, so does the presence of ticks. Over the last 15 years, Lyme disease cases have more than doubled. Experts want you to know there are ways to protect yourself from the disease-carrying ticks. Wearing clothing that covers up your body, such as pants or long-sleeve shirts, and wearing bug repellent will help lower the risk. While Lyme disease is treatable, Gunderson Health System doctors say if a tick latches on, it's best to act quickly.
Get it out, but make sure you're getting the whole tick. So that means using the tweezers and getting it as close to the head or the skin junction as possible. Because if you leave any part of that tick behind, then you could be also just at risk for other skin infections.
Experts say the presence of ticks shouldn't stop people from enjoying outdoors. They just urge extra caution and skin protection before you go. A program that helps provide health care coverage to Wisconsinites could be gone from the state's budget. Badger Care helps provide coverage for those who may not qualify for Medicaid. Last week, Badger Care expansion was removed from the state's budget by the state legislature's Joint Finance Committee. During a news conference at St. Clair Health Mission, supporters of Badger Care are confident that Governor Evers will help overturn this decision.
Because I think we can win Badger Care expansion if the governor uses his leverage to check what they just did. So, and we have his back, and people across the state will have his back on this if he takes this step.
Should the decision stand, Wisconsin would remain one of 10 states that won't accept Medicaid expansion dollars. La Crosse Mayor Mitch Reynolds has declared this week Lung Cancer Action Week. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the U.S. The American Lung Association is making a national push to turn the nation turquoise. Turquoise is the color of the National Lung Force movement, which helps educate about ways to prevent lung cancer. The ALA declares this week as Turquoise Takeover Week. Officials say it's working. The 5-year survival rate has increased by nearly 40% in the past decade.
Lung cancer is something that can happen to anybody. A lot of times we think like, oh, it just maybe happens to certain people, but it's really something like anybody can get this disease.
According to the CDC, people who are 50 to 80 years old or who have a history of smoking should get screened for lung cancer. You can promote lung cancer awareness by wearing turquoise sometime next week. Teachers and faculty in La Crosse were surprised with treats. Volunteers from the La Crosse Public Education Foundation made special deliveries to over 1,000 faculty within the district to celebrate Thank a Teacher Day. They received muffins, donuts, and fresh fruit to kickstart their morning. One teacher said that it's nice to see the community showing their appreciation for them.
I think in the climate of teaching right now, it's great for us just to be appreciated as a whole, but also for the community to see what we're doing day in and day out. It means a lot.
The deliveries were made possible by the Carol Table Thank a Teacher Fund from the La Crosse Community Foundation. The town of Shelby's only police officer is retiring this year. Now the town board has to decide what to do with its police department. They held a meeting to look at options for the future. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen was there and explains what's next.
After 20 years serving the town of Shelby, Officer Sean Horton is retiring from policing.
Sean's retiring. I think that's great for him. It's a loss for us.
Since 2020, Horton has been the town's only officer, meaning his department isn't full-time.
With the sheriff's department covering 2/3 of our calls, even when we had an officer, we figured that maybe we would look to see if we could help work with the county.
His departure has the community asking, what's next? Board members explained the town's population is flatlining and funding is low. Town chairperson Tim Candle says without the funds, the board is at a crossroads.
We cannot raise the money that it has to be able to sustain, to be operating some of our budgets and departments.
The board laid out the pros and cons of other options, including being covered by the sheriff's office or contracting with the county or another municipality for exclusive coverage hours.
I can give you good coverage. I can't give you the same thing that Sean did. It just wouldn't be to that level.
Another option, the town hires its own officers. Officials see the benefits of both.
Having coverage in the town of Shelby not only helps their residents, but it also gives the entire county more coverage and more resources.
With budget constraints and short staff, none of these options are simple.
We recognize that public safety is number one. We're going to do what needs to get done. How we get there it's going to take a little time, but we're going to get there.
Several members of the community shared their views at the meeting. They called for a referendum to keep that consistent police presence in the community. If that were to happen, it wouldn't appear on the ballot until November, months after Officer Horton's departure. At this time, no final decision has been made. The American Legions in La Crosse are using a bit of friendly competition to raise money for a great cause. The Legions are partnering with Custom Canines to fundraise and provide a service dog to a veteran for free. It's a tall task, with the total cost of preparing dogs like Apollo here reaching around $25,000. But for the veterans who are able to get a service dog, the results are priceless.
It's life-changing for them. We've had them who were suicidal and now are not, and away from their family and now are reunited with their families. We've had them who wouldn't leave the house, and now one of them's a VFW commander in Colorado.
The Legion who raises the most money gets to name the new service dog. If you want to help, you can go to an American Legion to donate, buy a brat at the Village Festival Foods, and go to dinners and events at the Legions. Andrea Richmond is back representing La Crosse's North Side. The La Crosse County Board appointed Richmond as the District 1 supervisor, a position she held from 2004 to 2022. Richmond replaces Pelly Lee, who resigned last month. It marks a return to local government for Richmond, who decided not to run again for La Crosse City Council this last spring election. Governor Evers approved road projects in Vernon County. Evers signed a $3.9 million contract to reconstruct US 1461, as well as the Highway 82 and County Road T intersection. A roundabout will be built into that intersection. Work is scheduled to begin next Monday, and the projects are expected to be finished this November. As the Mississippi River goes down from its spring flood levels, some areas in La Crosse are opening back up. The boat launch at Veterans Freedom Park is back open. Lewis Park is now open, and Pettibone Drive south to the Pettibone Boat Club is open. To the north of that, Pettibone Park is still closed. The East Copeland, 7th Street, and Municipal Harbor boat launches are still closed. Cottonwood, Jim Asfor, Grand Crossing, and Willow Trails are closed as well. Still ahead on your morning news, the prices of online goods are dropping, which is a sign that inflation may be going down. And concerns are being raised over healthcare worker benefits being cut out of the Wisconsin budget. That and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. The Green Bay Packers hosted a blood drive at the Johnsonville Tailgate Village. This is one of 3 blood drives the team holds with the American Red Cross. They picked May because it's Trauma Awareness Month, and having blood on hand is critical to trauma response. If you want to donate blood, you can visit the Red Cross website to make an appointment. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Well, some spots this morning are waking up to low visibilities thanks to some patchy morning fog developing in a couple of areas, such as Volkfield down towards the Wisconsin Dell areas, Boscobel at 0-mile visibility, and Black River Falls is currently reporting 0 as well. Prairie du Chien, 3-mile visibility here for you this morning, so just make sure to use those low beam headlights in some of those spots here that I mentioned, dealing with some of that fog out there. Partly cloudy skies for the morning. Other than that, for the dog walking conditions, mostly sunny by the afternoon, and a few clouds here as we head into the early part of the evening. Forecast high temperatures, or current temperatures I should say right now, are into the 40s and 50s. 54 in Winona, 54 as well in La Crosse, and we're seeing 55 currently in Eau Claire. Temperatures in Black River Falls and Sparta both at 42. Your zone forecast today in La Crosse County warming up into those mid to upper 70s. Some spots reaching the low 80s this afternoon, such as La Crosse on Alaska, Berry Mills, and Shelby. Further south, 76 today in Viroqua, 79 today in Stoddard, and 78 in Lansing. Meanwhile, across our central zones, we're looking at highs in the upper 70s here, with 79 in Black River Falls and 79 in Arcadia. 79 today as well in Eau Claire, and most of the Chippewa Valley today looking pretty mild into those upper 70s to low 80s. Schoolcast here this morning, 54 and partly cloudy on the way home today. We're going to be looking at partly cloudy skies here as well, with temperatures around 78 degrees. Stay tuned. In just a few minutes, I'll have a check on your full weather forecast in a little bit.
In your consumer news this morning, the prices of online goods are dropping. New data from Adobe Analytics found prices for e-commerce fell nearly 2% in April. According to Adobe, the biggest drop was in appliance categories: computers, electronics, sporting goods, toys, and home and garden supplies also experienced significant deflation. This is a good development for consumers who have been grappling with high costs after 2 years of inflation. Twitter plans to delete old Twitter accounts that have been inactive for years. Twitter says the goal is to free up old usernames, but the announcement drew backlash for many people concerned about what happens to the accounts of people who have died. A similar plan in 2019 was met with the same concerns. At the time, Twitter decided to leave the accounts of dead users. untouched. It is unclear if that will be a part of Twitter's new plan to purge inactive accounts. As the Wisconsin legislature continues to review Governor Tony Evers' budget, concerns are being raised for healthcare workers. Will Keneally explains.
You know, go out there and put a smile on their face and make their day and care for them in sometimes the most challenging times of their lives and sometimes the most exciting times of their lives.
Alex Dudek moved to Wisconsin a decade ago and has dedicated their early career to helping those who need it, working first in EMS before becoming an ICU nurse, working during the pandemic.
I really love it here. This has become my family, my community.
Dudek is 26 now and hopes to have a future in healthcare here in Wisconsin, but says fellow nurses, especially young nurses, are looking for that buy-in from Wisconsin.
We really need to invest in our healthcare workforce. So programs like the governor's proposed trauma and recovery fund that would expand our funding throughout the state, it would help support our young workers who really need that extra mental health support.
This is all happening as the legislature puts together the next 2-year state budget. Republicans have already taken out a handful of proposals by the governor, including expanding health insurance access to lower-income Wisconsinites.
Some of these areas could be passed as separate standalone legislation to be able to put some dollars in there. I hope the Republican-led legislature looks at that as an option.
Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, a former nurse herself, says the state's aging population means Wisconsin needs to address this staffing shortage now.
Every single one of us needs health care. And so if we do not invest in Wisconsin now, it is going to be a crisis moving forward.
Other major proposals in Governor Evers' original spending plan were to provide additional funding to K-12 schools and expand access to mental health services. That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and today's forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Sophia. Some spots this morning are waking up to a little bit of fog out there, so be careful here if you are in areas such as Volkfield and Black River Falls and Sparta, because you guys are all waking up to 0-mile visibilities here this morning. We're also looking at 0-mile visibilities being reported down in Boscobel even here too. Meanwhile, Purdy Sheen not looking too good either. You're currently reporting 3 miles. The rest of us are looking okay though, exception of Eau Claire. You recently have gone down on your visibility with some fog here developing in your area here as well. Meanwhile, in La Crosse, things are looking sunny. 54 degrees, the temperature, visibility looking good at 10 miles, no fog here. East-southeast winds at around 7 miles an hour. Meanwhile, in Eau Claire, as we just saw, some of that fog here is developing, therefore the visibility down to about 2 miles. 55 degrees, winds looking calm here. And across much of the region, things are looking quiet, with the exception of a few showers and storms across portions of Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. But meanwhile, here in the Cooley region, closer to home, things are looking quiet, some passing clouds, and of course, some of that fog being reported as well this morning. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, 42 Black River Falls, 41 in Sparta. Temperatures to the west of Winona at 54 degrees, 54 as well in Viroqua, 52 in Boscobel, 49 in Prairie du Chien. Forecast highs today mainly into those mid to upper 70s, expecting highs to be near that 80-degree mark in many spots, including La Crosse and Eau Claire here today. And overall, your planner does call for 73 degrees at noon with mostly sunny skies. We may briefly turn mostly cloudy by 4 p.m. temperatures at 78, and then partly cloudy skies once again as we get closer towards that early part of the evening there. So we'll see that here on Sky Tracker. Notice the clouds beginning to increase there from the west here as we head in towards those late morning hours. And then heading into the afternoon, you can see some of those passing clouds here developing and spreading their way east across the Cooley region here later this afternoon. Heading into this evening, though, maybe looking at a stray shower here that could pop up underneath some of those thicker clouds here as we head into early this evening. But other than that, things remain here quiet across much of the area. We're going to be watching this developing low pressure system taking shape here later this week as we get closer towards Friday, and that will develop across the Central Plains. That's going to move east across the upper Midwest here. That could spawn some isolated showers and thunderstorms. We'll keep our eyes on this, especially for Mother's Day, as this could affect outdoor plans here. And you'll see that here on the 8-day forecast. As a matter of fact, right now we're not looking at a whole lot of rain chances here, just a couple of days, Friday and then possibly once again on Sunday. But other than that, you can expect a mix of clouds and sun with temperatures in the 80s through tomorrow. And then we're back in the 70s here through the rest of the 8-day forecast with lows into the 50s. Stay tuned, though. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We're taking a quick break with a look what happened on this day in history for May 10th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. We're getting ready for the final stretch of the WIAA softball season. We've got a tight race in the Cooley Conference with the two top teams facing off yesterday afternoon. We go to Onalaska as the Luther Knights were hosting the first place Westby Norsemen, scoring at a minimum as we've got two very good pitchers. Here's Hannah Matsky striking out the first batter of the game. And then on the other side, Westby's Jada Berg has been dominant all season long. Here she is with the strikeout to end the first, but the offense would pick up with a runner on second. Jolene Jordahl just barely gets one up the middle. A run scores, and the Knights take the lead. Westby trying to answer Maddie Comey with runners on. She gets one through to right field. One runner scores easy, and then check out the base running. Comey dancing around, trying to get the defense's attention, and it works to perfection. A second runner comes in to score. Westby would go on to win it 7-1. MLB action, Brewers hosting the Dodgers for Game 2 of the series. First batter of the game. This is not what you want to see. Mookie Betts takes Eric Lauer deep, and that clears the fence for a solo shot. Brewers trail by 1. Now down 2, and a runner on from Miguel Rojas, and Elines went out to right field. Tyrone Taylor with the throw home, but it's not in time, and LA takes a 3-0 lead. Dodgers blow this game wide open, but in the 7th inning, Rowdy Tellez is going to put Milwaukee on the board. He smokes one to center field for a solo shot, but there was no crazy comeback. Dodgers take Game 2 6-2. These teams will go again tonight. The Bucks may be out of the playoffs, but they were still bringing in some hardware yesterday as the NBA all-defensive teams were announced. Milwaukee has 2 players on the teams. Brook Lopez was named first team after being a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. He led the league in total blocks with a career high of 193 and finished 3rd in blocks per game. This is the second time Lopez has made an all-defense team after earning 2nd team in the 2019-2020 season. And then after earning 94 out of 100 first-team votes, Drew Holiday earned first-team honors and has now been on an all-defensive team for the 5th time in the last 6 seasons. He led the Bucks in both steals per game and total steals, finishing with 79 and helping Milwaukee finish with the 4th best defensive rating in the league. Giannis left off the all-defensive team list for the first time since 2018. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
At least 12 people were killed and 20 were injured following airstrikes in Gaza. Among the dead were 3 Islamic Jihad commanders. According to Israeli authorities, its airstrikes in Gaza were a response to needless aggression by the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization. The country's National Security Council said in a statement that the group had fired 102 rockets towards southern Israel a week earlier on May 2nd. Dozens of fruit growers were arrested in Spain over illegal wells as drought grips the country. Spanish police said that it had arrested 26 people in recent months for allegedly running a years-long scheme to use water from illegal wells to grow subtropical fruit in an area of southern Spain suffering a prolonged drought. According to the Civil Guard press office in Malaga, the suspects include growers, business executives, and workers at community irrigation projects. New York University Business School is mourning the loss of 2 of its students who were killed while on vacation in Puerto Rico this weekend. Police say the 2 young men, both Peruvian nationals, were shot outside a bar in San Juan earlier Saturday morning. One of the students died at the scene, while the other died a short time later at the hospital. NYU says the men were not the intended targets of the shootings. Puerto Rico police say they are still investigating. Closer to home, Minnesota is nearing a future without so-called forever chemicals. PFAS are in products we use every day. Caroline Cummings shows us how one family's story motivated many lawmakers towards a ban.
I have been living my entire life, the last 5 years, kind of like in 3-month increments.
WCCO first spoke with Amara Strandy in January, who shared her struggles with a rare liver cancer possibly linked to PFAS, which contaminated drinking water in the East Metro where she grew up.
My cancer deeply affected my community.
Then she showed up again and again at the Capitol this session to speak out, with the hopes that she'd spare others the suffering she experienced over the last few years.
And I will do all I can to protect mothers from the pain and the despair that I experience in the loss of Amara.
Amara died of her cancer last month, just shy of her 21st birthday. But her legacy will live on. Her family on Tuesday joined lawmakers and other advocates praising a bill Amara fought so hard for that will soon pass, banning PFAS in consumer products.
It's really important that we're moving closer to the finish line, but we're also highlighting Amara's accomplishments by naming the legislation after her.
House and Senate negotiators recently agreed to prohibit the chemicals in cookware, cosmetics, cleaning products, and more starting in 2025. It's part of a big budget bill on the environment and energy both chambers are poised to sign off on. It also includes money to clean up our water and remove PFAS from it.
Amara wanted to do whatever she could, whatever strength she could call up, whatever needed to be said, to make her community a safe place to live.
Lawmakers say the move will make Minnesota's laws on PFAS the strongest in the nation, and other efforts to pass a ban have failed in previous legislative sessions, but now there's bipartisan support.
In a word, Amara. Amara.
The proposal will phase out PFAS used in firefighting foam. It also empowers the Commissioner of Minnesota Pollution Control to ban the chemicals from other products. Minnesota residents whose families earn less than $80,000 per year could soon attend public college in the state without having to pay tuition. The plan, which lawmakers call the North Star Promise, would take effect next year if fully approved. It will cost $117 million during its first year and $49.5 million every year after. According to Minneapolis Democrat Omar Fadey, the measure is designed to increase college enrollment in the state. Late pop star Prince is receiving an honor from his home state of Minnesota. The music icon is receiving a highway named after him in the Twin Cities. The roadway, formerly known as Minnesota Highway 5, will now be called Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz signed the bill with a purple pen today and said that not only is this a recognition and memorial, but it's also a gift to the people of Minnesota.
It's a gift to Minnesotans. Minnesotans love Prince. They love him to this day. They love what it stands for, and they love the idea that this genius, this global icon, can come out and have roots and be truly Minnesotan.
Fans and friends of Prince are also helping with costs for the signs that will go up along the road. Nante, an 8-year-old Wisconsin boy who went missing in Porcupine Wilderness State Park Saturday afternoon, has been found safe. Sunday night, searchers found tracks but were unable to find the boy. They returned with a larger search and rescue group on Monday. Nearly 50 hours into their search, Nante was found about 300 yards from his Saturday tracks. Eli Talsma, a close family friend and volunteer lunch monitor at Nante's school, carried him out of the woods.
My heart just dropped, and like all the thoughts of whatever could have happened just went away, and I was just so happy to see him. The first thing he did was he went to give me a fist bump, and we gave a fist bump, and then we gave each other a big hug. And then I was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Is anything wrong?" He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm just kind of ready to go home."
Talsma says he can't wait to reunite with Nante when he returns to school this week. Michigan State Police said more than 250 search and rescue personnel from 30 groups assisted with the search, including canines. A movement has started suggesting for people to let their grass grow for the month of May to help with pollination. They are calling it No Mow May. Kara Kopp has the details.
The snow is gone and your yard might be calling your name, or maybe not if you're like Superior City Councilor Ruth Ludwig.
We passed a resolution last March to begin the No Mow May initiative, and a year later here we are, we're continuing it.
Ludwig, like many others across the nation, attempting to create a more suitable habitat for pollinators by letting their grass grow for the month.
When we plant plants, of course, now we're more conscious about the native plants and how that affects the native pollinators.
The popularity of No Mow May took off in 2020 when a University of Wisconsin study backed up the trend with data. Now the university has retracted that study, saying No Mow May should be a no-go.
I think on a scale of 1 to 10 on how much No Mow May is actually helping pollinators, I'm going to punt and just say we don't know.
In the month of May, cool season grasses, which is the average grass many Wisconsin yards have, grow excessively. Come June, cutting your grass can actually stress your yard more.
From a turf health standpoint, you're effectively removing a large portion of that plant's growth.
However, researchers say reducing how often you mow and increasing the height of your grass brings positive environmental impacts, as well as adding bee lawn plants to your yard.
White clover, self-heal, thyme, and ground plum are all great plants for that can tolerate that mowing.
No matter if you choose to participate in No Mow May this year,
think about what we're doing before we cut the lawn or cut down a tree. How it's affecting the environment as a whole.
To participate in the La Crosse region, registration is available on the La Crosse Parks and Recreation website. Here is Derek to tell us what our driving conditions are looking like today. Derek.
Hey, thanks for that, Sophia. Some spots are dealing with some patchy morning fog still across the area, so be careful out there on your morning commute. Use those low beam headlights because, as you can see, some spots like Basketball currently still reporting 0 miles, 5 miles in Prairie du Chien, and 1 mile being reported in Black River Falls. Eau Claire, you're currently reporting 0 mile visibility. So again, just be aware of that here getting ready for your morning commute. Meanwhile, our temperature readings are into the 40s and 50s here now, and today's forecast does call for temperatures to warm up significantly up into the low 80s this afternoon under partly cloudy skies and overall very warm. South-southeast winds 10 to 15. For tonight, temperatures drop to 56 degrees, partly cloudy skies. There's a slight chance of a shower or two here. Mild temperatures, southeast winds light at 5 to 10 miles an hour. So for your DriveCast, things looking mostly sunny and quiet, and that will continue into your lunch hour as well. A few clouds here are possible as we head into the early part of the evening. Mowing forecast in the meantime looking good as well. 59 degrees this morning, 73 by noon, and 80 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds by 5 p.m. this afternoon. I'll have a check on that full weather forecast here one more time in just a few minutes. We'll also have your Buzz report coming up as well. We'll be right back. Some spots this morning continue to deal with some patchy morning dense fog out there. Areas such as Volkfield at 0 mile visibility. Black River Falls, you're currently reporting 1 mile. Basketball reporting 0 mile visibility here. And Prairie du Chien, you have improved a little bit since the last time we got a check on you. 5 miles, significantly much better here in Eau Claire at 10 mile visibility. Ladysmith to the north, only around 9. And really the rest of us are okay, including the La Crosse area here too. Downtown looking good, 54 degrees. Crystal clear visibility at 10 miles, so no worries about the fog here. East-southeast winds at around 7 miles an hour. Meanwhile, for you in Eau Claire, 54 degrees. Visibility looking good here as well, crystal clear. And we are looking at nice calm wind speeds here to work with as well. Across the region, things are also looking quiet. Just watching some showers and storms across portions of Minnesota and also northern Wisconsin. But here locally, closer to home in the Coulee region, things are looking quiet. A couple of passing morning clouds, but other than that, our current temperature readings are into the 40s and 50s. 54 in Winona right now, 46 in Volkfield where we're seeing some of that fog. Same in Black River Falls, except you're a little cooler at 44. Prairie du Chien, you're at 50 degrees. And down in Basketball, you're at 52. Viroqua reporting 55 degrees. With forecast highs today expected to be into the upper 70s to low 80s during this afternoon. Here's a look at the planner. We'll be mostly sunny with 73 degrees the temperature at noon today, followed by briefly, possibly turning mostly cloudy, 78 degrees by 4, and then a mix of sun and clouds, partly cloudy as we head into early this evening with temperatures dropping into the low 70s by that point, which you'll see here on Sky Tracker. Notice the clouds there moving in from the west today, and that's pretty much going to be the trend. Off and on cloud cover mixed in with some sunshine throughout the day. Again, it could turn briefly mostly cloudy later this afternoon around that 4 to 5 p.m. mark. And as we head into early this evening, maybe a little bit of a slight chance of a shower or two could pop up underneath some of those thicker clouds as we head into early this evening at around 9 p.m. or so. So we're going to be watching this developing low pressure system taking shape across the central U.S. and that system is going to be moving in our general direction here by the end of this week. That could spawn some isolated showers or thunderstorms for us to work with as we head into Friday and also into parts of the weekend here as well, especially on Sunday where the models here are a little bit more aggressive now, suggesting that Sunday could be more of the wetter day of the weekend here than Saturday than previously forecasted. So that's something that we'll keep our eyes on for some possible trends. It could go back and forth, but as of right now, I do have rain chances in the forecast for Friday, and then once again for Mother's Day on Sunday. Other than that, just expect a mix of sun and clouds with highs mainly in the 70s, with the exception of today and tomorrow, of course, and low temperatures mainly into the 50s.
In our morning buzz report, former Fox Media personality Tucker Carlson announced that he will try to relaunch his TV show on Twitter. Carlson made the announcement in a video posted to the social media site. His decision to appear on Twitter signals his strong desire to remain present in both the media and politics. Media observers anticipate legal action between Carlson and Fox over the move, since he is technically still under contract despite his dismissal.
It's showtime.
Beetlejuice is returning to theaters. Warner Brothers has announced Beetlejuice 2 will open September 6, 2024. Director Tim Burton and star Michael Keaton are returning, with Jenna Ortega playing the daughter of Winona Ryder's character from the 1988 original.
3 massive Megs and who knows what else have escaped the breach.
I just hope it goes better than last time.
What happened last time? You don't want to know.
Warner also dropped the first trailer for another sequel, Meg 2: The Trench. Jason Statham returns to face off against more massive megalodons when the follow-ups to 2018's The Meg arrives August 4th. Congratulations are in order for Robert De Niro. The 79-year-old Oscar-winning actor was recently discussing his parenting style in an interview when he revealed he just had another baby, his 7th child. He didn't give any other details. De Niro plays a headstrong Italian father in his upcoming film About My Father. It co-stars Kim Cattrall and debuts in theaters May 26th.
Still can't believe this. 7
kids is so many kids.
At his age, too. That's crazy.
What kind of car are you buying to fit all of them in there?
I don't know. You gotta need more than a minivan, that's for sure.
Thanks, Derek. Before we head to break, it is time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, so happy 88th birthday to Rusty. Rusty enjoys visiting with family and friends and sitting on the lawn of the family farm.
Happy 88th birthday to Mary. Mary loves her family as well as watching the Brewers.
And happy 8th birthday to Bradley. Bradley is a happy boy who likes Pokemon, soccer, and traveling.
Happy 8th birthday to Bennett. Bennett is an awesome big brother who also likes Pokemon and Flaming Hot Cheetos, which Derek also enjoys,
I love Flaming
right?
Hot. Yeah, that makes 2 of us then. If you know a special someone that's turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now is up next. I like to sit in this. Minnesota residents whose families earn less than $80,000 per year could soon attend public college in a state without having to pay tuition. The plan, which lawmakers called the North Star Promise, would take effect next year if fully approved. It will cost $117 million during the first year and $49.5 million every year after. According to Minneapolis Democrat Omar Fadeh, the measure is designed to increase college enrollment in the state. A movement has started suggesting for people to let their grass grow for the month of May to help with pollination. They are calling it No Mow May. Researchers say reducing how often you mow and increasing the height of your grass brings positive environmental impacts, as well as adding bee lawn plants to your yard. To participate in the La Crosse region, registration is available on the La Crosse Parks and Recreation website. Andrea Richmond is back representing La Crosse's north side. The La Crosse County Board appointed Richmond as the District 1 supervisor, a position she held from 2004 to 2022. Richmond replaces Pelly Lee, who resigned last month. It marks a return to local government for Richmond, who decided not to run again for La Crosse City Council this last spring election. Teachers and faculty in La Crosse were surprised with treats. Volunteers from the La Crosse Public Education Foundation made special deliveries to over 1,000 faculty within the district to celebrate Thank a Teacher Day. They received muffins, donuts, and fresh fruit to kickstart their morning. One teacher said that it's nice to see the community showing their appreciation for them.
I think in the climate of teaching right now, it's great for us just to be appreciated as a whole, but also for the community to see what we're doing day in and day out. It means a lot.
The deliveries were made possible by the Carol Table Thank a Teacher Fund from the La Crosse Community Foundation. The American Legions in La Crosse are using a bit of friendly competition to raise money for a great cause. The Legions are partnering with Custom Canines to fundraise and provide a service dog to a veteran for free. It's a tall task, with the total cost of preparing dogs, like Apollo here, reaching around $25,000. But for the veterans who are able to get a service dog, the results are priceless.
It's life-changing for them. We've had them who were suicidal and now are not, and away from their family, and now are reunited with their families. We've had them who wouldn't leave the house, and now one of them's a VFW commander in Colorado.
The Legion who raises the most money gets to name the new service dog. If you want to help, you can go to an American Legion to donate, buy a brat at the Village Festival Foods, and go to dinners and events at the Legions. As the Mississippi River recedes from its spring flood levels, some areas in La Crosse are opening back up. The boat launch at Veterans Freedom Park is back open. Lewis Park is now open, and Pettibone Drive south to the Pettibone Boat Club are open. To the north of that, Pettibone Park is closed. The East Copeland 7th Street and Municipal Harbor boat launches are still closed. Cottonwood, Jim Asfor, Grand Crossing, and Willow Trails are closed as well.
As you head out the door this morning, temperatures are in the 50s under partly cloudy skies. Watch out for some patchy dense fog in some spots out there. Looking at temperatures warming up into the 70s and low 80s this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. Overall, pretty warm day, similar to yesterday. And tomorrow, we're going to be looking at highs around 80 as well. Chance of thunderstorms on Friday. Another chance could be possible on Sunday. Otherwise, mixed clouds and sun. Highs mainly in the 70s with the exception of today and tomorrow, of course, and lows into the 60s or 50s and low 60s.
When I am not working, you will catch me outside the next 2 days.
Fair enough. I'll probably do the same.
Thanks, Derek. And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. We'll have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 at noon. Have a great day, everyone.